We just called this press conference to tell our people that we are not going to be debating the Zuma speech because it is not worth our time. We have taken a decision after the Constitutional Court to engage in two forms of protest against Jacob Zuma's occupation of the highest office. And that form, amongst others, include protest action and boycott of President Zuma. Many people argue that President Zuma was elected by the majority and that the EFF is actually in contradiction with what the majority of our people have voted for, and want to put it on record that that is not true. We are on record accepting the results of 2014 and 2016. We are on record accepting the election of Zuma as president by parliament, because it's not true that our people elect the president. The president was elected by parliament, and when the outcomes of the elections were released, I even took an effort of calling President Zuma to congratulate him, because that was a sign of respecting the democratic outcome. But even if you get the majority, you still have to subject yourself to the Constitution, because ours is not a majority democracy. Ours is not a legislature democracy. Ours is a constitutional democracy. So even if you've got the majority, you are still subjected to the Constitution. So meaning that anyone who says I've got the majority, that person must be compliant with the constitutional requirements. And failure to do that, then we are turning this country into a mob. What makes us people, what makes us a nation, is our ability to comply with the Constitution. The inability to comply with the Constitution then makes us a mob, and we're going to subject our people to mob decisions, the will of the mob. The mob says we must go this direction, and that is unacceptable in a constitutional democracy. We have to put it very clear that anyone who violates the directive of the Constitutional Court, that person is violating the Constitution and therefore rendering constitutional democracy useless. And we are not going to be party to that. There are two things that makes a person to be a president. You don't require a matric to be a president, as you can see today. We have a matricless president. You don't even require a simple a junior degree. There are two things you must have for you to be a president. You must be faithful to the republic, and you must obey the Constitution. And the president then breached those two, and therefore is no longer qualified to be called a president of the Republic of South Africa. And that oath of office, the way it is so important, there is a special day where people get convened throughout South Africa to gather at the south lawns of the Union Building, where a president on that day will specially take an oath of office. That's how important it is. Everything stops. And if Zuma had refused to take an oath of office, he was not going to be president. If you refuse to accept that oath of office, you can't be president. That's why there is a special day for it. That's how important it is. Now, having taken an effort to organize such a special day to accept an oath of office, a person goes and breaches that which makes him occupy that office. So he throws away the key which gives him access to that office. And that key is the oath of office. Without that, you will not have access to that office. What type of a country have we become which accept a person to break the door and occupy that office illegally, even when he doesn't have the key to that office? We are a country which is constituted by cowards who have accepted that a person who has compromised the oath of office can continue to occupy the office. And those that say we must adhere to the Constitution, we must adhere to the oath of office, are called names and are called disruptors by those who have become comfortable with criminals occupying the highest office even when they've disregarded the oath of office. So we don't have to be in majority. We don't have to be many to tell what is right. Only history will judge us. Today, people who break the rules of parliament, they get beaten up, they get chased out of their house to an extent that the Cape Town court has actually given those people a go-ahead to do what they are doing there. The courts have agreed that you must be beaten up, you must be taken out in a manner in which we are being taken out. For simple thing of breaking the rules of parliament, we don't agree that we have broken any rule. We think that that which we are doing is within the confines of the rules of parliament. But for argument's sake, those who break the rules, they get beaten up. Pregnant women get dragged out of the National Assembly. The most sick people who have serious diseases get beaten up and removed out of parliament for breaking the rules. Okay, what happens to a person who breaks a constitution? Because for simple rules which must be subject to the constitution, you get beaten up, you get dragged out of parliament, you get subjected to all manner of humiliation. What happens to the one that breaks the constitution? Because these rules are nothing but a subject of the constitution. That is the question South Africans must ask themselves. No, they must be taken out. They are breaking the rules of parliament. But what happens to the one that breaks the highest law of the land, the constitution? And it is not me and you who have said he has done that. The highest court said he has done that. Sober judges have said he has breached his oath of office and therefore violated the constitution. What happens to that? You are so prepared to protect an individual that has breached his oath of office and the constitution and then beat up those who are exposing that and remove them from parliament and leave the crook to stay in parliament and to continue to violate the constitution. And you don't only do that. You do that also by violating the constitution. You bring in police in white shirts. They masquerade there as parliamentary protection services. We captured them. They were in buggies of the police when they got dropped. There is a guy who comes from VIP protection unit, Mapumulo. Mapumulo, we have sent a picture of Mapumulo to IPIT. He's in white. He's in the VIP protection unit, pushing members of parliament out of parliament against the constitutional court decision that says police are not allowed. Parliament continuing to violate the constitution. And every South African is happy, every South African is celebrating that and condemning those who are saying this is wrong. Those who are saying this is wrong get condemned, they are disruptive, they are disrespectful. You are so comfortable to live with a lie and you are so scared of the truth. The truth remains the truth. It doesn't matter how it is told. It is the truth. The man has violated the Constitution. Parliament did not do anything. In the same way he was violating the Constitution when he undermined the public protector, Parliament didn't do anything. Parliament was supposed to take him through an inquiry or through some impeachment processes after the Constitutional Court. Still, Parliament didn't do anything. Parliament was told by the court, don't bring the police into the assembly. Parliament brings police into the assembly in direct violation of the Constitution. What constitutional democracy are you talking about? What constitution are you talking about? Who abides by that constitution if Parliament, which is supposed to be a custodian, a protector of this constitution, is in a permanent violation of the constitution? So all of that gets to happen here in South Africa. There is no protest tomorrow. The highest protest you can have is